A.M.E. Church down there. I'm going to let these two folks speak for just a minute. We're really excited to be here. Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, well, thanks, Rich. Good to see you always. And welcome to Mother Bethel Church. I'm Reverend Tyler. I'm the pastor here, and I've been here for the last 4 years now. And we have a very special guest who's here. We've just finished our general conference. I don't know if you know much about A.M.E. Church structure and polity, but that's our highest governing body, and it meets every 4 years around, different places around the world. And so a number of us are elected delegates, and we go to pass laws and to elect new bishops and things like that. So Reverend Links was here as a delegate representing our 15th district, which is the southern part of South Africa. And so he and his wife are still in the city, kind of just doing some things. Their train taking them back to North Jersey leaves in less than an hour. So I thought maybe we'd start and just kind of let him talk to get his perspective on Richard Allen, the A.M.E. Church. He grew up under Apartheid, was active in resisting it, and I asked him earlier about if maybe he could share if Richard Allen's story of the walkout was anything that he drew as inspiration or whatever. But he's the pastor of Zion A.M.E. Church in about an hour north of Cape Town. That's the wine country. It's like our Napa Valley. And it's our largest A.M.E. congregation in South Africa as well. And so Reverend Keith Links, I'll turn them over to you, and you can ask him whatever you like, and maybe he wants to have a few words of introduction.
Wow. Thank you.
I thank you so much for this opportunity to have a word with you. I'm a native of South Africa, and I've been since 1984. I'm part of the A.M.E. Church in South Africa. Grew up as a youngster, started all the structures of the church, begin with all the structures. I actually is now the biggest church on the African continent, the A.M.E. Church. So we're up country, an hour's drive from Cape Town, up the mountain into the wine valleys, and some good wine around that area. If talking about red, you be in a good shape if you get out of the country there with a good red wine. What I'm trying to say is that as nice as the wine is around in the area, so nice the people is also. Because I'm working, as a matter of fact, with farm workers, people that works on the farms, and we are a great bunch of people trying just to serve the Lord in the area where I am. As I must tell you about what we went through in the years with Mandela and all that stuff. I was in jail for 2 days for resisting in Apartheid system. I was at a school near Cape Town where they pick us up one afternoon after school because they knew you are the guy that lead the songs, the freedom songs. So they must get hold of you and put you in jail. The same prison that Mandela was, I was also, they call it the Victor Verster prison. I was there for 2 days, detained because I just speak my mind, saying that is wrong, that somebody can be so long in the prison for standing for rights. So it's with that I'm here to answer questions you want to ask me or pose me. Is there any? Yes, sir.
What was the structure of the prison when you went to, say, Helena? Is that what it's called? Helena Island?
No. That is Victor Verster. The prison, oh, you talking about Robben Island?
Robben Island.
Robben Island, it's about just out of Cape Town. We stand on the harbor of Cape Town. You can see Robben Island. Robben Island, it's a very small island, but in that time of the time that Mandela was in there, it was hard times. And I must tell you something very good of that man. The people that were the warrants and guys who were watching after him, when he got out of jail, he called them all in to say, I've got no grudge against you. I went through this, but I want to show you that there's the other side to make all at one in this country of South Africa. That's why he's so phenomenal. He's a big leader in our country. Recently, they took him out of Johannesburg, the city where he recently stays, and they took him to his birthplace because his age is 93. And the reason for taking that, there's a lot of people coming to the house in Austin where he sort of stayed. And they took him out there because they need him to rest more because his health is not so well. Did I answer your question, sir?
We're here studying about early black resistance and abolition, and I was wondering if you could speak a bit about how your religious studies and faith, as well as your own studies and knowledge about the history of what happened in this country sort of inform your protests and your struggles where you come from.
All right, I think it was basically the fact that we, as now you must take this in consideration. In our country, we are raised in 3 different groups: the whites, the blacks, and the coloreds. I fall under coloreds. So what actually happened in South Africa is when the blacks, when the apartheid system was there and the resistance was there, they took all the blacks out of the city. So the blacks were staying right out the city. The coloreds was staying on the border of the city. So what actually happened is that the whites was in the city, whereas coloreds was on the border, and the blacks was right out of the city. So if you come to Cape Town or to every South African state, you will notify that. That's why there's a place called Soweto. Soweto is out of Johannesburg. It's there, most probably the place where they. But to answer your question, I think we went through a hard time because we as coloreds was also classified as blacks. But although we have this 3 races group, the blacks, the white, we were treated as the black person in the country. So what we usually do, the blacks and the coloreds came together, and we would march to the city to protest against all these things. And it is there, and it started off at the University of the Western Cape. That's a good university for all our coloreds, because for all our coloreds, like Alan Busak, have you heard that name, Alan Busak? He was an activist, and we started from that university, trying to show to the government in that time that we as blacks and white are together. And I must mention this, and we said in our soul movements every time that if you play a piano, you must use white and black notes to make a smart harmony. So that was our reasoning of doing things. So showing to the white regime that we can be together if we play white and black notes to make a good sound out of the piano. Thank you, sir.
In terms of what parts of Richard Allen's life, I'm assuming to be a minister in the A.M.E. Church, that the history and the origin of it, you guys have to study his life extensively. So what parts of his life most impacted you personally as you learned about it?
As Richard Allen moved out of the Methodist Church in that time when he was a preacher, and when they were when they moved out of the church, so we as the colored and black community started our own thinking about if he moved out of the Methodist Church where there was racial, so we also can move out from the government at that time, and so that we can show resistance, that we as Richard Allen have done that, we also gonna stand for what we believed in.
Do you know anything about the history of Bethel? What happened to Bethel in Cape Town?
Right. Bethel is one of the major churches in Cape Town. And what actually happened there, it's a long story, but I'm going to make it short. Was actually in the heart of Cape Town. Then there was this time when the government feel that no longer will there be coloreds and blacks in Cape Town. So they have to move out, and our big wonderful church like here was thrown out of Cape Town. And they moved it backwards to the place called Hazendal. But you know what? One thing that stuck into my mind. Now you know the Muslim community? They had a big mosque in the Cape Town area. And they wasn't thrown out. But our black church, because they call it, I will call you, there's a name in Africa, and I'm Afrikaans speaking, that's my first language, but there's a name called Kafir, that means black. The Kafir church must go out of Cape Town. And it is in that time when we were moved out of Cape Town that the church gets stronger. You know, there's a guy who was a poem writer, and he always said this to us. When they throw us out of Cape Town and they put us in places like Mitchell's Plain, Nyanga, Guguletu, Bonteheuwel, when they put us there, we had a song to sing. And every time we singing freedom songs, it just builds us up to be stronger and say to everybody, we are united if we stand together.
The type of current movement to get economic empowerment or to get land in the hands of the blacks in South Africa?
Yes, I'm serving a church right now where they were in Worcester, the area I'm staying, where they throw us out of the white, or in the town, they throw us out, and we can get a $3 million deal. We call it land claims, where we can go. We don't want the premises back because there's new buildings on there, but they will give us the money. And recently now, we are very hard on that to get that stuff back, due to the fact that we stand as a unity together to get all the stuff that we were thrown out back. So there's a lot of churches in the Cape area that was thrown out of town, beyond the border, that is getting money now back, and we're standing firm on that to get the stuff back to us. Yes, sir.
Do you all, do blacks and colors in South Africa still identify with the Khoi or the San? as far as-
Wonderful. That's a good question. Yes, the Khois and the Sans are always there, and some of them are I would say they are doing a good job by trying to get, it's like, that's politics. Because if you be a Khoi son, then you go into the government. You see, if you registered as a Khoi son, you will get one of these days in the government, but the government allowed every Khoi son to come back to his root. Now, if you ask me where I come from, then I must be quite honest. Recently, I'm a Khoi son of birth. My grandfather was a Khoi son. Now, the Khoi sons is making very much progress right now to get into the government, to be a pronounced or a very popular nation in the areas. The blacks not, they stand on firm on their beliefs. Like our new president Zuma got 6 wives and 21 children. That's their custom. They believe they can do that. And hopefully we will have a new president. But that's too much to have a lot of wives and a lot of children, and the government must look after that.
Does anybody identify with any other group? With any other tribal group?
Oh man, we've got a lot. Actually, we've got 11 languages in our country, which make it very difficult for our conversations with each other. But because every time you have somebody to translate what I'm saying, and it makes it very difficult for us. Yes, sir.
Have you been to Philadelphia and Richard Allen's church before?
Yes.
The first time you came here, and you came to the area where he had started his church, what did you think?
There were tears. There were tears the first time I walked into this building, seeing the tomb, seeing all what they went through. And yesterday I was crying downstairs, where they had this box with the white and blue, or white and black.
The ballot box.
The ballot box. And that actually, because most of our people right now, the area I'm staying, are not so educated due to the fact that we had this apartheid system. Now you must know, apartheid was a hard thing on South Africa because we didn't have much education. We only can go to a certain school where we can have education. And sometimes the University of Western Cape could pronounce or give us education, but just for some. But with that, I must say, when I got in yesterday and I saw that some of the people didn't have education by putting the white or the black thingy into the box, that will show if you are going to be elected as an officer in the church. Am I right? So that was fascinating. But to answer your question, when I got into the city, I just fell on my knees and prayed and said, thank you, God, for this man that stood his ground, saying that we are not going to be mocked. We're going to walk out of the Methodist Church, St. George's Methodist Church, and start our own. I think the others is history. That's why the church is in South Africa. Praise God. In ANC language, we'll say, Viva Mandela, Viva. Viva. Oh, Viva Richard Allen, Viva.
All right. Thank you.